Yo, what's good? It's theaurastraw, and in this video, I'm going to tell you the story of how I got my chonky, Loaf. Funnily enough, it all started with the dog I had before Loaf. Her name was Luna. Very original, I know. But, we got her a couple months before we got Lunar. She was my first dog, and I loved her very much. I remember going to the shelter and looking into her cage and just seeing her just looking at me, very scared but still wagging her tail. We ended up adopting her that day, and we got her 2 weeks later because she had to be spayed, as all shelter dogs here have to be. And everything was all nice and dandy until I had a sleepover at my cousin's house. They insisted that I bring the dog. I cave and do so, and they thought it was a good idea to put it next to my other uncle's dog, who they were watching at the time. Unleashed. That dog hated small dogs. Luna was a Chihuahua mix. Nevertheless, the other dog, a pit bull, attacked her. They managed to get her away, and while I was bathing her, I noticed that her entire left side was swollen. So I told my uncle, and they took her to the vet. They asked if I wanted to come, and I remember specifically saying no, because I thought everything was going to be fine. I remember waving at her from the window and seeing her look at me, and I never saw her again. They came home, and they gave me her collar and explained that she had broken a few ribs. The surgery was going to cost $2,000, and it was only a 50-50 chance of her making it since she was super young, so they decided to put her out of her misery. I was heartbroken. I remember they offered to take me to Disneyland for 3 out of the 5 days of their spring break, not even the whole week, I know. And while I was grieving for my dead pet, they forced me to go on every roller coaster I didn't want to go on because I was scared of them. I haven't been to Disneyland since, because it's kind of ruined it for me. But the month after that, we ended up getting Lunar. We went back because my grandparents felt that it was unfair that I got my dog, who had only had for a month, ripped away from me that way. And while at the shelter, I ended up trying to go for 2 other dogs before Lunar, even though we knew she was there, because she reminded me so much of Luna that it kind of hurt. But my grandfather was really insistent on us getting that dog, and even though I had picked another one, he ended up going back and having it switched to Lunar. And the day he went to go pick her up, her previous owner showed up. Drove 3 hours to pick her up, and my grandpa explained what had happened to Luna. The man called his wife and explained to her, and they ended up letting us adopt her that day and bring her home, because I guess they figured I needed her more than they did, and boy were they right. That little chunky bread has gotten me through a lot, and I probably would have had a lot worse time growing up if it wasn't for that little bread loaf. I love that little doggy with all my heart, and I always thank Grandpa for going with his gut feeling and getting her for me, especially now that he's gone. It makes that moment that much more special for me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. That was the story of how I got my little Loaf, my chonky, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Later.